When her adoptive parents checked on her in the morning, she was dead, but the search party never found her body. What happened to her body? Ariel Sellers was born November 6, 2014. She was the second oldest of 5 children at the time. She attended Waimanalo Elementary. Her favorite color was purple. When Ariel's mom, Melanie, was in her 20s, her brother was battling cancer. She became his caregiver. When he passed away in 2017, she used meth to cope. When she gave birth to her first child, she tested positive for meth, which led Child Welfare Services to step in. That first child and her subsequent children were removed from her care. The children were allowed to stay with Melanie's mother, Barbara Kumai. However, Barbara's boyfriend became involved in a serious motorcycle accident, which of course took up some of Barbara's attention. Because of this, the social worker removed the children from Barbara's care because she didn't want Barbara to become overwhelmed. Barbara says the social worker should have given her a chance. Isaac Sunny Kalua and Lehua Kalua started fostering Ariel and 3 of her siblings. The 4th sibling lived with someone else, a family member. They began residing with the Kaluas in February 2019. They became her adoptive parents in 2021 and changed her name to Isabella Kalua. Throughout this video, I'll refer to her as Ariel because let's not call her by the name that those monsters gave her. Isaac and Lehua both had a criminal history. In 2000, Isaac Kalua was convicted of assault, attempted assault, and terroristic threatening. He pled guilty and served 5 years probation. Lehua had been indicted on drug promotion in 2001, but the charge was dismissed in 2002 after she completed a drug court program. Despite this criminal history, they were still permitted to foster and then adopt Ariel. In Hawaii, foster and adoptive parents can receive financial reimbursement or subsidies to cover child care costs. Isaac filed for bankruptcy in 2020. The Hawaii community questioned how Ariel and her siblings could be in the care of the Kaluas given their criminal history and bankruptcy, as foster parents should show a good record of financial and personal responsibility. Melanie, Ariel's birth mom, visited Ariel and her children when they lived with the Kaluas 2 to 3 times a week. That's when Melanie started noticing signs of a child who is related to the Kaluas, possibly a nephew, would take Ariel's toys and would try to hit her. The Kaluas stood back and did nothing. On one occasion, when Melanie did try to scold him, the Kaluas didn't like that and then banned her from ever visiting Ariel and her children again at the home. The state of Hawaii arranged for Melanie to visit Ariel and her children at public locations such as the public library, a child welfare services office in downtown, or their grandma's house, their maternal grandma, Barbara. During these visits, Melanie saw other signs of she saw bruises on Ariel's arms, back, and head. When she reported it to the social worker chalked it up to Ariel pinching herself. Melanie said, "My daughter doesn't pinch herself. That's not normal." Pinching herself? On another occasion, Melanie noticed that Ariel's finger was swollen. When she asked Ariel what happened, Ariel put her finger against the ground. Melanie thinks that Ariel was acting out as if someone had stomped on it. When Melanie reported this to the social worker said it was possibly a bug bite. A bug bite? Really? Melanie noted that Ariel always seemed to be hungry whenever she would see her. She would bring snacks, and Ariel would eat anything that she brought her. Melanie said that Ariel would constantly want to eat. Melanie would try to find out what life was like at the Kaluas, but Ariel and her older sister would keep quiet about that. I may say Ariel's older sister or oldest sibling many times over this video. Just know that I'm referring to the same sibling. Despite these alarming signs, Melanie said that Ariel always seemed happy to see her. She would always have a smile on her face. But Melanie noted that Ariel didn't really seem to talk to her. Ariel suffered other injuries. In October 2019, Ariel had a broken finger. The Kaluas said that her finger was slammed in the door. They had delayed getting her treatment and delayed reporting this to Child Welfare Services. Just 4 months later, in January 2020, Ariel suffered a broken leg and was brought to the ER. The Kalua said that she had injured it on a trampoline. Both injuries were reported to Child Welfare Services, and a panel determined that no maltreatment was found. In 2020, Ariel attended Waimanalo Elementary via distance learning. This was during the COVID-19 pandemic. People were isolated at home. In America, we saw increased reports of people were home with their for extended periods. Tragically, if Ariel had bruises or other signs of she was away from the watchful eyes of her teachers. In June 2021, the Kaluas filed paperwork to withdraw her from school in order to homeschool her. In Hawaii, there are no specific qualifications or educational requirements to become a parent educator. On September 13, 2021, the Kaluas reported Ariel missing. They claimed to have last seen her the night before. Ariel's birth parents denied involvement in her disappearance. Ariel's birth dad was in a residential treatment facility, and her birth mom was living on a beach. According to Lehua's version of events, Ariel ate dinner with her adoptive family and then played with her sister. Lehua then drove Ariel and her siblings around just to get them out of the house, but didn't stop anywhere. Lehua said Ariel was fine and had no tantrums. When they got home, Ariel went to bed at 9 p.m. and Lehua went to her own bedroom. Around 9:20 p.m., Lehua went to check on Ariel and saw that she was sleeping. The following morning, around 5:50 a.m. or 6 a.m., Lehua woke up and saw that the side door of the house was closed but unlocked. Lehua said that Ariel would leave doors unlocked and she would tell Ariel that that's dangerous. Lehua said that Ariel would open windows and talk to someone, but no one was actually there. Lehua also claimed that Ariel would go to the garage and sleep there sometimes. She claimed that Ariel frequently slept outside. Lehua said that Ariel would leave the house every night or every other night, waiting for her mom to pick her up. It seems like Lehua was trying to set it up that Ariel left the home, got lost, kidnapped, or hurt, and was unable to make it home. Lehua told police that the door sensor went off at 1:30 a.m. that morning. She also said that they do have home cameras, but that it crashes a lot and tends to go on and off. Sure. Lehua says that when she noticed that the side door was unlocked, she went to Ariel's room and saw that Ariel wasn't there. She then woke up Ariel's older sister and asked what happened to Ariel. The older sister said that she didn't know. Lehua claimed that the older sister was a heavy sleeper, to imply that she wouldn't have noticed if Ariel left in the middle of the night. Lehua and the older sister searched in and out of the house looking for Ariel, but they couldn't find her. And that's when Lehua called 911 to report her missing. Isaac took the other kids and drove around looking for her. Lehua told police that a neighbor saw a silver car in their driveway that left at 1 a.m. They assumed that it was a family member. Lehua tried to set it up as if there was a mysterious silver car that got Ariel in the middle of the night. There was a massive search of law enforcement and community members, including Ariel's biological family, to look for her. The search party said to leave a light on for Ariel so that she could make it back to safety. There was a $15,000 reward for finding her. Initially, the Kaluas cooperated with police, let them in their home, and gave statements. They let the police do a full day search and let them collect electronic equipment, like the camera footage, and door equipment. Investigators reviewed the camera footage and found that Ariel did not leave the home that night, as the Kaluas had claimed. In fact, Ariel last appeared on the home cameras on August 18, 2021, but the Kaluas didn't report her missing until September 13, 2021. That's almost a month later. From August 18 to September 13, there was no sign of Ariel on the camera footage. That's almost a whole month unaccounted for. What happened to Ariel during the span of a month? What were the Kaluas hiding? The Kaluas stopped cooperating with law enforcement as the investigation continued. They didn't even participate in the search party, apparently due to online death threats, according to their attorney at the time. Ariel's biological family and volunteers held rallies in front of the Kalua home and child welfare services to get answers. When police questioned Isaac about the timeline, he said that he went to work on August 19, had the day off on August 20, and on August 21st, he felt sick, went to the ER, and subsequently substance and took 2 weeks. When police questioned Isaac about the timeline of events, he said that he went to work on August 19, had the day off on August 20, but on August 21st he felt sick, so he went to the ER and then took 2 weeks off of work. Remember, Ariel was last seen on camera footage on August 18. Isaac took off work shortly after that. What was he doing during that time? A November 5th police interview with Ariel's older sister would reveal that Isaac took that time off to help Lehua get rid of evidence. This November 5th interview would crack the case wide open. During this interview, cruel neglect and inflicted upon Ariel at the hands of the Kaluas were revealed. Ariel's older sister, who was just 12 years old at the time, said that Lehua bought a dog cage on the internet, even though the family didn't own a dog at the time. The Kaluas starved Ariel, so Ariel would try to look for food at night. The Kaluas didn't like this behavior, so they would lock Ariel into the dog cage to prevent her from trying to feed herself. Ariel's older sister would try to sneak her food, but Lehua would catch them and would get upset. The older sibling says that Lehua put duct tape on Ariel on many occasions. She believes that the duct tape came from Isaac's job. She says that there have been many occasions when Isaac would see Ariel and the older sibling bound by duct tape and stood by and did nothing. On the night of August 18, 2021, Lehua put duct tape over Ariel's nose and mouth and locked her in the dog cage. At 3:32 a.m., Lehua went to check on Ariel and found her lifeless. She then woke up the older sibling, who saw that her younger sister was motionless in the dog cage. She knew that her younger sister was dead. As an attempt to revive Ariel, Lehua filled the bathtub with water and put her in it, but it was unsuccessful. In a cruel act, Lehua then ordered the older sister to carry Ariel's lifeless body back to the bedroom that they shared. Lehua then ordered the older sibling to go back to sleep. When the older sibling awoke in the morning, she saw that Ariel was no longer there, and she didn't know what the Kaluas did with her body. The Kaluas told this older sibling to keep these events a secret. Instead, this older sibling was crucial to helping police put together a timeline surrounding the events of Ariel's death. The investigators checked the 911 calling systems and found that neither Lehua or Isaac had called regarding an emergency at their home between the dates August 1st, 2021 to September 12th, 2021. Nearby emergency rooms and urgent cares also have no record of seeing Ariel as a patient during this time period. Ariel is last seen on home camera footage on August 18, 2021. The police believe that it is on or around this date that she was killed. The older sibling said that Isaac pretended to have COVID-19 so that he could take weeks off of work to dispose of evidence. 5 days after this interview, at 7:20 a.m., heavily armed law enforcement raided the Kalua home. They had guns drawn and set off flashbangs. They brought Lehua out in handcuffs. Isaac was arrested at the shipyard where he worked that same day. Law enforcement got a search warrant that same day and dug up the Kalua home backyard and searched nearby manholes. Family Prosecution Division Chief Tiffany Kaeo said that the couple took multiple steps to destroy evidence. They used cleaning agents to thoroughly clean their home and discarded items at locations around the island. The community held a candlelight vigil for Ariel that night. The Kaluas were charged with child endangering the welfare of a minor, and for hindering the prosecution. Lehua was charged with second-degree murder by inflicting the damage that caused Ariel's death. Isaac was charged with second-degree murder by failing to call law enforcement or seek medical treatment for Ariel. They are still being held without bail, and the charges carry extended life sentences without the possibility of parole. Their trial has been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and surges of infection rates. Ariel's body has never been found. A probate court judge declared her dead in July 2023. Court records filed February 2025 may shed light as to why her body has never been found, despite extensive search efforts by law enforcement and community volunteers. In this new court filing, Ariel's older sister, who was 12 years old at the time of Ariel's death, recounts that the Kaluas would go to public beaches every day or every other day. They would pour green substance into the toilets. Lehua would wash various cooking and grilling materials at the public beaches and then throw them away at the dumpsters. The older sibling was also forced to dispose of the green substance. Randa Rosenberg, an attorney representing Ariel's siblings, says that it's horrifying what the children were subjected to. Their other attorney, Trevor Potts, says that the green liquid could have been acid. When the deputy prosecutor asked what this older sibling was doing during these events, she told the grand jury that she was instructed to watch if somebody's coming, essentially to be a lookout. Attorney Trevor Potts says that learning about these details is distressing, but those who searched for the child and cared about the children deserve to know the truth. This older sibling will likely be called to testify about these events again at the Kalua's trial. Their trial is set for May 19, 2025. Understandably, this case has caused public outcry. Community members, including Ariel's biological family, question how she could have been in the Kalua's care in the first place. Other family members say that they would have taken Ariel and her siblings in. Why were the signs of not taken more seriously. Upon the adoption of a child, a social worker is no longer assigned. However, the youngest sibling, who was also living with the Kaluas, was still under foster care and received monthly visits from a social worker. In 2023, a lawsuit was filed against the state that claimed that child welfare workers were repeatedly warned by doctors, a teacher, and others that the Kaluas were repeatedly Ariel, yet they did not thoroughly investigate and even supported the Kalua's adoption of the children. The lawsuit further alleges that the Kaluas took Ariel to multiple doctors to avoid suspicion when she exhibited bruises, fractures, and other injuries. After the Kaluas were arrested, the remaining siblings were taken under the custody of Child Welfare Services. In February 2022, 5 months after she was first reported missing, the creation of Ariel's bill was reported. The bill called for regular home visits for those with a pending adoption decree, those who have an adoption decree but have not yet been adopted, those placed into legal guardianship who receive permanency assistance payments, and adopted children who receive adoption assistance payments. Annual home visits would start 6 months after the adoption and for as long as payments are being received. The bill did receive support, but certain elements were noted to be lacking. Victims advocate Nonohe Botello told the committee that the bill lacks monitoring and accountability of social workers already involved in cases like Ariel's. She says that if there had been more accountability and monitoring, there may not have been the death of Ariel Sellers. The Hawaii governor at the time, Governor Ige, said that the bill had serious legal concerns. He said, "The bill requires monitoring and surveillance of all families who have adopted or taken guardianship of former foster children so that the families can never live free of government intrusion in their lives or rights, which all other families often take for granted." Board and committee members were surprised at this response. They thought that the children's safety would outweigh privacy concerns. Ariel's bill was officially vetoed on July 12, 2022. In 2023, Ariel's mom, Melanie, gave birth to a son. At this point, she was no longer using meth. Her deepest fear was that her son would be placed in the same foster system that did not take enough action to prevent Ariel's death. Melanie says she's a lot more protective now. When Ariel disappeared in 2021, she said that her daughter would not have run away as the Kaluas suggested. She said, "My daughter is afraid of the dark. She would never leave the house at night. She didn't even want to leave the house." When Ariel disappeared, people made donations, but Melanie said she didn't care about those things. She just wanted to find her daughter. In the weeks and months that followed Ariel's disappearance, meth offered Melanie some respite. Eventually, Melanie got tired of using and she got clean. One night after she got sober, she called her cousin, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Taya. Taya remembers getting the call and hearing Melanie in tears, saying, "I wasn't there. My baby was probably crying and I wasn't there. I didn't save her." Taya replied, "Honey, at the time you couldn't even save yourself. Now you've just got to work from there." After getting clean, Taya said that Melanie's mission was to complete that checklist that Child Welfare Services had given her to prove that she was fit for providing child care, something that was given to her even before Ariel's death. Despite Melanie's clean drug tests, Child Welfare Services have already stepped in and deemed that she was unfit to provide and protect for her newborn son. Melanie had to prove that she had been rehabilitated along with other measures that prove her fitness for childcare. At the time, she didn't know where her other 4 daughters were, but she's heard rumors. Melanie was doing intensive outpatient treatment online, seeing a therapist, and trying to see another therapist to help with the grief over Ariel's passing and everything that happened. Ariel's dad was also seeking treatment as he was in rehab at this time. This was such a hard case to dive into for myself personally. Child just enrages me because they're so vulnerable and so innocent. I tried to look for GoFundMe pages or fundraising pages for Ariel's surviving family members, but I couldn't find any, possibly to protect the identity of her siblings that are still minors. May Ariel rest peacefully now that she's out of the grasp of her adoptive parents. I truly appreciate you taking the time to learn about Ariel and her story. Leave a light on for her tonight. Take care, be safe, and protect the vulnerable.